To be honest with you, another person isn't even really on the table. It's not like I'm like, oh, this is their significant other. I don't even see that at all. At all. I see them looking at, kind of like what I said earlier, multiple relationships. And a lot of the stuff they did wrong, they had kind of already known, because at the time when they were getting out of it, when they were breaking up, or, you know, afterwards, or maybe somebody said it, even if they didn't agree with it, they were like, okay, well, that's what they said I did wrong. So they had kind of like some kind of an idea. But with this, they're still in it, and they don't know what they did wrong. And I'm kind of looking at this like Six of Wands and this Emperor over here with this Temperance and this Magician, and this Ace of Wands, and it's kind of telling me that they didn't do anything wrong. Maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe it's not about what we did wrong. Maybe it's just about a choice that we made that we could have made somewhere else. So instead of looking at it like, oh, I screwed this up, I made the wrong choice. So, oh, I got two. See, I didn't even see that. So I've got the Empress here, and then this Seven of Cups flipped out too. So yes, this is kind of telling me that like I had other choices. I may not even have seen them, or I may not have even seen them all. I might have thought it was this or that. I feel like I picked that up in the beginning, yeah, with this Two of Pentacles. I feel like it was like this or that, but it wasn't this or that. It was like this or that or that or that or that or that. We didn't see it. I'm trying to figure out from that Death card why. I mean, it kind of looks like we were supposed to go through this. I usually get that from like the Six of Cups in reverse. Six of Cups to me is usually a soulmate, but I think people take soulmates lightly. I don't think they understand sometimes like who's a soulmate. Like even the karmic is a soulmate. If the karmic wasn't a soulmate, the karmic wouldn't have such a strong pull on the situation, you know? But it's not even just about the soulmate, the karmic, it's about the soulmates, and it's about the twin flame, and it's, you know, depending on what the situation is. You don't necessarily have, you know, all of those, or any of them, but most likely you're going to have soulmates. And so a lot of times with this Six of Cups, when that pops up, which it should anyway in a really important relationship, especially one that we didn't do so well in, or we don't feel like we did so well in, that Six of Cups comes up. But then when it comes up in reverse for me, it's sort of like a person that we were exposed to experience, so a soulmate, but we weren't necessarily supposed to stay with them, because we were supposed to learn something and move on so that we could be ready for that next soulmate or that twin flame or whatever's going on. And this person didn't need a tower to start thinking about it. They were kind of like, something's a little off. It's a possibility that, like I said, it's like quiet around them, and it's not usually quiet. And so they've had like a moment to sort of sit down and just kind of say, how did I get myself to the point where I have to steal quiet, or whatever's going on? I'm getting that from that Seven of Swords over there. And I'm also getting the question of like, this almost just tried to come off in my hand. I was going to say, why do I have to sit around and determine whether or not I'm getting love? It's kind of like, what happened? But it's not like how we usually talk about what happened, how did I get here? It's not that at all. It's kind of like, okay, well, I'm here. I see that I'm here. Where do I go from here? What's going to happen after this? But on top of that, we know what we're missing. Even if we don't know all of it, we know what we're missing. We picked something that caused us to, we might be sitting by ourselves, kind of wondering what's going on. But also, we kind of feel almost like abandoned. Like I'm getting that we like the quiet right now, but there's this like emptiness or this like loneliness. And so we're like, well, what are we doing here? We have the law of habit and the law of healing. So the law of habit says ignite your creativity with the pattern erupt. See, I got creativity somewhere else in here. If I see it on one of these cards, I'll point it out. I got this a little bit from being excited about creating the next thing that we're going to go into, because we realize that this thing's been a little bit blasé, at the very least. But on top of that, it was more of like, we hadn't really even thought about what we wanted. We're doing it now. And we hadn't even really thought about the choices that we had. We kind of know now we had more than one or more than two. And so now we're kind of trying to figure out what those were so that we could see them, we could identify them if we saw them in a lineup. And then we have this law of healing, transform your trauma, transform your life. And I feel like a lot of times the reason why we miss stuff, especially when we're reviewing stuff, but most importantly when we're going back into the new stuff, we miss what we did wrong because we don't look at it. We don't look at the decision that we made. And I think in this particular situation, we did a lot of giving somebody else what they wanted. And again, I don't even see this person on the table. I see us being okay with it. This Emperor upright with this Ace of Wands, we were okay giving to this person. We didn't mind it too much. Except for, kind of feel like we're by ourselves. We didn't really get what we wanted 100%. We're starting to realize that even from here we have choices. And it's a possibility that we've seen, it's a possibility that we might have seen one of these or more of these choices. We might be somebody who's fairly eligible and people are constantly letting them know that they're an option, and it's possible this person's like, even if they weren't going to entertain that option ever, kind of looking at the situation differently. Not a lot of emotion. They do want the Lovers. I think to a certain extent they're very aware that most people that come towards them, they're not, they're looking for other stuff. They're looking for material stuff. They're looking to, I was going to say solve some other kind of, it's weird. The words that we're trying to come together to form a sentence don't really go together. I was going to say form some kind of satiation, but that's not what I meant. Let me just see what popped out. So we have boundary, we have regeneration, and blessings. Yeah, we kind of feel like this thing, because we haven't really been moving towards, I was going to say feeding our dreams. Because we haven't been doing that, we sort of realize now why we are not getting our, why we're not getting our dreams, why we're not getting the things that we wanted. And just even like, we're realizing that these are like even just our mediocre dreams that we wanted that we're not getting. These weren't any kind of grandiose, plans or wishes. They were just sort of, normal stuff that other people, even maybe people that we know have, didn't have to work too hard for, but here we are kind of sitting here. And I feel like part of us being ignored is someone else went off to go pay attention to someone else. And we're not even really lonely about it. We're not. I think this is part of the problem. Like, this is part of the reason why we know that we're not extremely happy. I'm trying to see if anything comes out of the song deck. But we're not even like, if someone is off with someone else, we're not even jealous. We're just trying to figure out if we want to give to this thing anymore. But I think to a certain extent, we're the type of person that we know that if we have to ask that question, then we probably don't. Like I said, I feel like this, like, 7 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles energy And this Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups energy isn't helping either. At all. And we're not, like I said, we're not even incredibly sad. We're just kind of like, you know, there's a couple on the floor here. That was the one that I saw first. Voices carry was underneath it, and that don't impress me much. So voices carry sometimes is like other people talking. I think if, like I said, if other people are talking, we know what they're saying, but we don't even really care. Yeah, we're being misunderstood just a little bit. And taken advantage of. Somebody's camping onto our success and letting us think that we're kind of running the show. And like if they make us comfortable and don't cause any, like make any waves or anything, that we'll just keep earning for them kind of thing. And I feel like to a certain extent this person feels that way because they're kind of persuading them to make, you know, but the thing is, this person sitting around, like, even if this person wasn't doing anything, you know, witchy, if they were just using just flat out persuasion, to try to get someone to do what they wanted them to do, this person doesn't want to play that game anymore. That Lover's card, that wish or that dream that they never really got a chance to experience in the way that they wanted it, they already know that that with this whatever it is that they're in right now, that even if someone did apologize, this was just turned around in that deck too, by the way. That's like separate. That's like someone we're thinking about. Even if this person was to get like a full-blown apology that was meant. I found another one that was turned around. This is like being stalked. I'm just making sure there's no more. Yeah. So this is kind of telling me that they're being reminded of someone that they used to know. Interesting. I'm talking about songs. They're being reminded of somebody that they used to know that really, I was going to say, had their back. But I don't think, you know, everybody thinks of having their back and different things. This person, they didn't want that, but they didn't need that much in the relationship. You know, they wanted somebody that they could talk to, somebody that they could, you know, tell their burdens to, someone that they could trust, you know, somebody that maybe cared about their well-being, you know, someone that they could love. I don't even know that they needed love back necessarily, but they wanted to be treated all right. They wanted to be treated well. They didn't want to be the second option in the house, because they knew they were going to work hard and they knew they were going to bring home something that was going to take care of everybody, and they just wanted to be, you know, not necessarily recognized or acknowledged for it, but appreciated to the point where someone didn't stab them in the back. And I don't think they got that. Okay, so yeah, there's a person that this person's thinking about who would never do this to them, even though this isn't that bad. We would have never had that. There's more than one choice. If we had chosen that person, we wouldn't be in what we're in now. And we're kind of realizing that being ignored or kind of, I'm not getting completely ignored. It's almost like this person is being ignored and picked on at the same time. But either way, the air is that they're not seen, kind of thing. Not acknowledged, you know. Not heard. That they're realizing that that's just as bad as being mistreated, like being actively, verbally, you know, mistreated, harassed, harangued. Like it's for them, it's the same thing. Because of the way they feel, the way this is making them feel. I'm just going to see if I can get anything else out of this. But I was picking up this energy and I was trying to figure out if there was anything else really to it. It's literally them just figuring out what they need to do. Like figuring out they have choices, figuring out what those choices are, figuring out how they're going to make those choices, and like what acts they're going to execute to make that happen. Because at this point, they feel like they can have mediocre on their own. They don't need to support someone else and do it. They're starting to form these boundaries. They're starting to heal. They're starting to learn. They always had temperance. Now they're just kind of starting to fight for themselves. But it's not even just for fighting for themselves. They're fighting for the lovers. You know, what was this? Blessings? Yes. It's not just the lovers. They're fighting for other blessings. They're fighting for someone. Like I said, even if the person that they're with completely turned around, they would never be this. They're looking for this and the stuff that goes along with it now. They don't mind taking care of somebody. They just want to take care of somebody who takes care of them. And they're eager to make that happen. Obviously in ways that are more intelligent and not so much like rushing into it. They know they still have some work to do. They know that there's some residual pain for this. And they know it's a possibility that future moves that other people might make might, you know, add to their pain or at least highlight it. But it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be hard to get out of this. It's not going to be hard to go towards what we want. It's not going to be hard to let this go, regardless of what we've been through, what we want, regardless of what if a person's a soulmate or not. If they're not providing this or not giving this, there's no chance for this. We're not staying. So that's where this person is right now, on the balcony in their heads. Keep that in mind. Until next time.